Hello. So in school, let me get it for you. In school, I had a test on Friday for my Chinese class, and here it is. Um, so I spent lots and lots of fucking time studying for this test. And I went in to take it, and I was like, okay, I spent a whole lot of time studying. I'm really going to use this test as an opportunity for me to expound upon and have the time and the space to really get out there and see what I've done and what I'm doing. So, oh, she kept the original. um, So what happened was I got into class and my teacher said, "Hello everyone, you have 45 minutes to complete this test." And I didn't really register that. I'd prepared myself to be as effective as possible with the information that we are to read. So trying to be effective, I wanted to be extremely detailed and really get out what I had retained. And so I started writing, and I noticed that in the answer question part, we have like, what is that, like less than 2 finger spaces to answer a question. So I was making an annotation system, and I was answering the questions on the back and really getting out everything that I knew about these questions. So in a period of time that seemed to me to be about 15 minutes, the teacher said, "Okay, class, you have 15 minutes left." So I'd spent 30 minutes working on what I had done so far, and it blew my mind. And so the point came up in me where I wanted to just like frantically scribble down anything that I could get out of me so that I could get as much done as possible. But I didn't. I continued working at the pace that I had been doing so far. I didn't I didn't change what I was doing. And so when time ran out, I hadn't finished about half of the test is blank because I ran out of time. This whole back page I didn't even get a chance to look at. So I failed that test. Because I wanted to, in detail and to the best of my ability, learn what we have to know. Which is like fucked up. I wanted to cry in the class. It was just so crushing. I was just so frustrated. And that kind of like became directed at her, but I stopped that because it's not about me fighting with the teacher. So after class, I went up to her and I asked her, you know, well, let's take a look at what's going on. I think this test is a wonderful example of what it's been like for me in my entire schooling experience, this problem that I have in school. And so I asked her to photocopy it for me, and I probably don't have time to talk about like every point that came up, but just really cool stuff came up about why school works the way it does and how it really works and just how absurd, okay, I'll bring out this point, just how fucking absurd what we're doing is. Okay, so um, question number one on this essay, sorry, that's for writing, sorry, let me take that part of my soul and compartmentalize it and store it away until I'm so for this for this quiz. It's a quiz, not a test, which is different. Um, Question number 1. China is about the same size as Canada, the US, or Australia, and located in Central, Southeast, or East Asia. So China is about the same size as Canada, the US, or Australia. Circle the right answer. Now, when this question came up, I looked into my memory and said, okay, China, US, and Australia. Or China, Canada, US, and Australia. They're all kind of big. Australia, definitely not, because I haven't heard about Australia in relation to the geography size of China at all. So it's not Australia because that comparison, that value of big and small hasn't been attached, and Australia is not related to that. I've never heard it, and I know that I've never heard Australia used in that at all. It's not Australia. So Canada or the US, about the same size. Well, looking into my memory, I remember I was at home and I was studying on the internet, and there was like a little YouTube video about China, and this was like back from the 1940s, and it had a picture of China, and then it overlaid a picture of the continental United States and said, China is about a third larger than the continental United States. So a third larger and about the same size. I didn't I misallocated those two definitions, and so it can't be the U.S. because the U.S. is a third smaller, which is not the same thing as about the same size. So I picked Canada, but in the book it says China is about the same size as the United States, and only Canada and Russia are slightly larger. So that's slightly larger, about the same size, and a third smaller. These are like, I mean, it makes no difference. I've seen the map. I know, I know there are, it's just like, I've seen the map. What does it fucking matter? Who gives a fuck? Like, I'm literally just having to just jumble these phrases, and that's like called Chinese history. So that's just like the level of absurdity that is taking place in this school thing. So, yes, back to the point. I went to my teacher and I asked her I'd like to go talk to the administration about what's going on. And so I scheduled an appointment with a man named Robert who I spoke to, and interestingly enough, he seemed to also contain inside of himself this anger towards the teachers about what teachers do to students, which was really interesting. So I'm going to go bring this quiz that I have, and I'm going to go to see Robert on Thursday at 10 for an hour, and I'm going to talk to him about what I've been experiencing. And when I go there, I'm going to, I have this little book that I'm carrying with me at all times, and I'm recording every minute of my studying, and I'm going to show him what is being asked of me, because I might not have time to go into this point, but I will give it a shot.